No Dumping Allowed was a memoir that I wrote back in 2002 in a class called Roots and Routes, and I submitted this memoir to Essence magazine for a contest, and it was rejected. Believe me, I know how it feels to be rejected and have your work I never accepted for years and years, and I just wanted to read it to you, and I thought maybe you might want to see that even my professor said it was a good title, and he also told me to pursue getting it published. However, I still haven't been able to. So I left off on page 5, and I'm on page 4, so I'm starting on page 5. And these are the corrections from my professor. This was the first draft. I recall when I decided to write this book, it was because of my personal experience with a booty call relationship. I remember that's when I first discovered there was a secret undercover life of people who are in a relationship, but they aren't committed to any goals or future together. I couldn't understand if this was something like what happened in the 90s with OPP, and that was a group that came out, and they had a song called OPP, and it stood for Other People's PUSSY, and it was about just promoting cheating, promiscuous adultery. Even though it appears to be fun, it's obvious that someone in this type of relationship is coming up short, and that's what made me decide to produce a woman's tool to help women realize that they can choose to have a higher quality of life and raise their self-esteem and consciousness, because women are the ones always in control of their own behavior. Women can't change the fact that they are going to always be men who only use women for sex, but we as women can change our own awareness and realize how it destroys the family network, our self-respect, and confidence. For as long as I can remember, I have seen women lowering their standards just for attention from some man who they know they wouldn't give the time of day to otherwise. I'm like a private detective, carefully examining and researching a case to blow the cover off of this demeaning behavior. Women have lowered themselves too. I want to try to change the way we as women view ourselves and illustrate how God wants more from women than just being someone's dump hole. Jesus says, "I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly." John 10:10. Lynn was listening to me closely. She had been my friend since middle school. I recall when we first met, she walked into school's administration office. I noticed that there was something familiar about her presence. It was similar to déjà vu. All I know is that there was a connection somehow tied to her, and that my spirit noticed. I don't recall the exact words or how we started to speak to one another, but I do remember thinking, after we met, it sure would be nice to have a best friend. At the time, I started to realize the true meaning of friendship through past friends, and especially from hanging out with Nicole and Gina. Nicole was an outgoing girl, except for the fact that trouble seemed to follow her, and Gina was more like Nicole's friend, so we really didn't get to know each other that well. But Lynn seemed different. She was easier to talk to. If she didn't agree with something I said, she debated over it until we both called a truce. I guess that's why I enjoyed hanging out with her, because she understands other points of view and is willing to explore other options in order to see the whole picture. At the time when I met Lynn, my perspective was quite different as a young child, because I really had no requirements for a person to become my friend. All they had to do was be friendly and fun. Now I'm more selective because I take friendship more seriously due to the fact that as an adult I now realize the value of a true friend. Lynn asked, "I don't understand it. How did you finally do it, girl?" "It takes real faith to leave a man for a man you haven't even met," I replied. "Only through Jesus." She answered with, "Oh yeah, only way you could. I'm proud of you for finally standing up for what God wants instead of what your flesh wants." She was right. I had to be proud of myself because it took me a while to finally pass this test that God had put me through. The test of love and sex 101. Don't throw your pearls to the swine, because they will not cherish them, but they will walk all over them, breaking them into pieces. Jesus warns us, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and then turn and tear you to pieces." Matthew 7:6. I could relate to throwing away my love to someone who didn't honor and respect me. But now I realize that love must be reciprocated, and that I also participated in the major role of lying in the pig pen. I let him dishonor me, and I allowed him to treat me this way, so I asked for the disrespect I got. I finally understand that it's time to eliminate playing the blame game and to stop judging others and to take some responsibility for the mess I helped create. I was only holding on to an unhealthy relationship out of fear. The fear of being alone terrified me, because I had abandonment issues that stemmed from childhood through my adult life. I remember how when I had read in the first part of the verse Matthew 7:1, when Jesus urges us not to judge, or you could find yourself in the same situation, he says, "With the measure you use, it will be measured to you." This verse helped me to understand that if I judge a person, then God will judge me for what I did wrong. One definition of the word measure is any standard of comparison, estimation of judgment. To be measured is to ascertain or regulate by measure. So now it's easy to let go of the hatred and bitterness from what was done to me, to simply not measure wrongs, but rise up from failures to a better and brighter day. Then the waitress finally arrived. After we placed our order, I told her about the specific chapters and ideas I had for the novel. The story will start something like this. In the 21st century, many women are seeking committed relationships through any means necessary, even if it requires them to put aside their integrity just to get a man. With women choosing their mates and baby daddies in this order, no wonder the divorce rate is over 60% and still rising. According to Paul F. Secord and Marcia Guttingtag in their book, Too Many Women, The Sex and Racial Question, America's Culture has weakened families and shaped women and men's choices concerning marriage. Then I put out my notes and asked Lynn, "How does this sound for substance?" 18 questions to know if you're just a dump hole. Does he only call late at night or hardly call? 18 questions to know if you're just a dump hole. These are questions for women to decide if they're just a dump hole or not. The questions theme will be based around the actions of a man. For example, does he tell about personal purchases? Does he introduce you to family and friends? Does he make dates and promises he doesn't keep? Does he court you with flowers and gifts and jewelry? Does he say you're just friends or he just wants to have fun? Does he include you in his future plans? Does it take him a day or days to return your call? Does he only want to see you when he's available and not when you want? Does he not do anything special for you? Is everything always more important than spending time with you? Is he preoccupied with your financial status? Does he say it's all about the Benjamins all the time? Are you the only one doing all the giving? Is he more interested in what you can bring to the table than the fact that he has nothing to bring to the table but sex? Are you finding yourself on call waiting until your shift? Does he pacify you with false hopes? Does he get does he get late night calls every time you come over? Does he only come to your place? Some subjects of chapters that will be in the book. 18 questions to know if you're just a dump hole. If a man really wants to be with you, how lust and being a dump hole can affect your mental, physically, and spiritually. Ratios and statistics on women and men. Breaks down of player mentality, STDs, pregnancies, how to find the roots, questions, and why you don't value your body and self. How to close up the whole dump hole, survival skills, conclusions, successful stories. I have a lot of ideas and many years of research has went into this book, Lynn. I'm real excited about writing. It's just such a part of me. We finally get our meal. Man, the service is slow, but the food sure looks great. As I eat, I discuss all the references I will use to supply the hard evidence to support my points and give facts to help me prove my position with more clarity. I describe how I will use my humorous tone, when it's sometimes preachy, to help the readers to learn about me and how there's a better way. I have a lot of work to do on this one, but I think all the research has helped me conclude how hard it is for women to be strong. I don't know if I'll ever write this book because women will probably continue to follow the worldly way of attracting a mate, waiting on call for someone who doesn't care about them. I hope that we as women can realize which behaviors are loving, caring, and compassionate, and can hopefully differentiate between healthy love that bears fruit and worldly love that bears no fruit. Society has told women, if you're concerned with a man's assets, you're a gold digger. That's not necessarily true, because a wise woman looks for a mate who can provide for her family, a man who is trustworthy, responsible. Even birds know this simple fundamental rule. When a female bird gets ready to select a mate, she carefully drops a branch from a tree, and whatever male bird that flies to the rescue saves something as little and as significant as a branch shows the female bird that he will surely save his own children if danger was to arise. I guess I will hope for the best and trust that God will let me know if I should write this book. This reminds me of a saying I used to admire as a child. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then that's in the Bible. So basically this book, or this memoir or whatever, was rejected, and they don't want to hear stuff about God, or trying to help women to be stronger and not fornicate, and to follow the Bible. So this could have actually turned into maybe a series, a movie, but it was rejected by Essence Magazine, and I just wanted to share it with you. And this was No Dumping Allowed. Actually, it would have been great to have shown the character to develop in the show or movie, and then to be able to publish the book and show her going through the struggle of getting out of the bad relationship, and how she did it, and just illustrate it. And but of course they don't want those kind of things. They just want to show the women who go around and do wrong and stuff, and that's what they basically promote. So no dumping allowed. Reject.